I'm Mahogany.
And I'm Age.
And we are Culture Currency.
Where culture
is the value. So we had a discussion before discussing the music component, right? Music being art.
Yes.
Does art imitate life or does life imitate art? And we came to the conclusion that since life comes first, obviously art imitates life, right? And we also discussed how the state of music in the now is a symptom of what's going on in the culture, right? Does that take away the accountability of our artists?
The answer is artists should, even if they're not accountable, they should be aware of their impact and care about it, right? And I think because there's a lack of accountability or care, right, that now life is imitating art. And the way our young people are being impacted by the same messages that they're getting, and it's lacking diversity from when we were younger. We had a choice. Our kids don't have a choice. This is what it is.
Or they have a choice, but it's not really being
it's not promoted. They have a choice, right? But it's not popular choice. You know what I mean? It's not promoted alongside all of the other genres. You know,
pretty much you're saying that although life came first and art imitates life, because there's not a diverse message out there, life is beginning to imitate art.
Right.
There's a podcast that I watch where Math Hoffa, who is a battle rapper, spoke on the responsibility of parents. His stance is, you know, that's not our job. We're not supposed to be raising other people's kids. If everybody understands that it takes a village to raise a child, and we are a part of this community, we are part of this culture, so we are now a part of this village, are we able to stand on such statements?
Right. And that's the whole thing. We are one. But us as humans, we've never really understood that outside of our own culture. Because if we did, there probably wouldn't be wars and this and that where we're harming each other. I think all of that is just a symptom, a sickness of human beings, right? And when I think about, there's two things that came up for me. One is we're both artists, right? And another, we're both parents, right? And I'm just thinking about how I'm watching the younger ones going from 12 to 13, 13 to 14, and I'm checking them because I catch them doing all, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then I was in the school the other day, and I'm walking past the classroom because school hasn't started yet, and the kids are going wow on some lyrics that they shouldn't be. So I'm like, damn, it's like they can't get away from it. You know what I mean? But are we being unfair in our perspective and feeling like there should be another one way? Because when I was listening to some old school music, and I was listening to Ice-T this morning, and I'm hearing him, and I'm like, maybe this was his reality. You know what I'm saying? So are we telling some people don't speak about their reality, or we're just asking for the industry to promote more diversity?
You know, I love both of those questions, right? I love both of those questions because as someone who is at a different level of life now, right? And has been at the level of life that these young people are in this moment, you have a different level of perspective now, because now you can not only see from their perspective, because you've been there,
right? But
you see from a perspective that they haven't been to yet,
right?
So I remember being the young person who thought that the elders were like, y'all just hating, like y'all
just
doing
about that this morning.
Doing the most for what? Like it's just music, right? And fast forward to today, the same thing that they foreseen, they were in a place that we weren't yet.
Right.
So they seen things that we had yet to see.
That's right.
And so they already understand where we're about to be, and they're trying to detour us.
That's right.
From getting there.
Right.
And we don't want to hear it because we don't know what they know.
Right. Drop it, sister.
So now we're in. So now we're in a unique state where we are now our parents
That's
and,
a fact.
and our elders who are seeing something
Right.
that they have yet to
That's
see.
a fact.
They don't know what's around the
Yeah.
corner. We already there, so we see it.
Yeah, because when
You
I
know
was
what I
yelling
mean?
Onyx lyrics in class, and my teacher was like, "What?"
I was in a
What?
Slam video.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
At Dead Ass you was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
They hung out at my school.
Oh, wow. She said, no, I was in
know?
that video.
So we out
Yeah,
there. We having the time of our lives.
Right,
This is
right.
the dopest thing ever.
Right.
But we don't understand
Right.
that there's no such thing as small things.
Right. That's right.
Most people don't
Oh my God, my
understand
oldest
that
brother
there's
taught me
no
that.
such thing as small things.
No.
Everything means something bigger and has a bigger effect.
Right.
The same as throwing
mean
a
it.
pebble in the pond.
Right.
Right? The way that ripple stretches, that's what small things are.
Right.
That small thing turned into this
Right.
big thing, and that's how life is.
Damn.
And so when you say, are we being unfair, right? Are we being unfair wanting there to be only one perspective? I don't think that we want there to be one perspective because that's not realistic.
Right.
Right? We want them to understand that all these things exist, but we need them to understand that all of these things
Exists, right.
Right? You know, we're in a space now where mental health is a focus, and I think it's a beautiful thing because it's something that needs to be focused upon, which is why we are, doing what we're doing.
Right.
However, we cannot, now that we're in a space where mental health and emotional health is a topic,
That's right.
act like we don't laugh, joke, have fun. All of those things don't exist no more.
Right.
Now all of a sudden everybody is just depressed.
Right.
There's nothing positive happening in your life.
Right.
That turns everyone, like you said,
Yeah.
it turns it on its back. So
That's right.
now
That's right.
people are all they feel is depression.
That's right.
All they implement
Super
is depression
emotional and all that, right.
because they're not dealing with the other side of things. We're focused on only the negative. There's
Right.
no positive. And when we bring it back to the music,
Right.
we need a variety.
Right.
The art is supposed to, if it's actually imitating life is not only one-sided.
So thank you for saying all this stuff because this is exactly what's on my note card. Right? So when we talk about, because what you're talking about are the impacts of music, which is mood regulation, stress reduction, improve memory, and understanding diverse communities. Boom. So if we're only hearing all of this drill stuff, there's no understanding of diverse communities, right? Our people are coming across as one type of people, and then our young people are believing this is who they are supposed to be. And if it's improvement, let me just get through these points.
Go ahead.
I know you want to get in, right?
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
right. She's like, but then if it's improving memory, what are we embedding? Then, if it's stress reduction, not this music, right? It's not lowering our cortisol levels, it's hiding it, right? And then if it's mood regulation, what mood is it putting us in? But I want to make a point. The New York Times put out an article that said they did a study of 6 different types of record companies, majors and indies. Out of 4,060 executive positions, we hold about 70 of them. People of color. So, in life, who cares about you more than you?
Absolute.
It's not us running this shit.
Not to mention, right, going back to what you just said, like what message is this putting out to our young people, right? What message is it putting out to people who don't know us or are trying to get an understanding of our culture? Right. Or if this is the only narrative that they're receiving, how do you expect them to receive you? Right. When you walk into their establishments, when you come into their spaces, how do you expect them to see you as anything other than what they've been ingesting about you? Right. So to wrap that part up, I believe that we have a huge responsibility and what we're putting out as artists. Art, although is a creative space of expression, it shouldn't be a limited expression. It should be all encompassing. Right. I have albums.
We need
that
a comprehensive approach to
music. It's important to have that variety when it comes to creativity because creating is exactly that. We're creating. So if we're creating, you got to ask yourself, what is my art creating?
What is right? Yep. So I believe this was on another conversation, and we were talking about the powers that be and investing. Oh, I think we were talking about liquor and different stuff, right? All that kind of stuff. And it brings me to that. We like to talk about solutions and not just have conversation for the sake of conversation, right? So I'm thinking that something that could aid this is the powers that be, our people with the means to do so, invest in those other messages. Because if you look at the music industry, the major, but we say even indie labels is the same thing. Our people need to be in executive positions and positions of power that could actually make decisions, right? Because really this is all just like trap music. This is all a makeup. You know what I'm saying? To divert our people to not be the best that we could be.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
Trap music.
You understand what I'm saying? But some of us actually can do something about that trap. Open the door.
Mindset. We spoke about mindset before, and mindset is what creates our actions. So when I speak to people in certain positions, right, who are in power and in place to change things, these are the same people whose conversation is, the people don't want that. This is what the people want.
Man,
this is what's selling.
It's a goddamn lie.
People are buying what we are putting out.
Exactly. Because how many times you love the wax song after 19,000 times hearing it?
It's all about it's all about what we're willing to do.
Exactly.
To change the narrative.
Yeah.
And so we do have people in position, but are they courageous enough to do the unpopular thing?
Yeah. Because let me tell you something. Also that's why we're both artists, right? When artists mean rap artists. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was doing my thing and have folks support me, whatever, in terms of getting to another level. I forgot what label I met with, and they gave me two choices. Either I have to go all the way. I either got to be a 50 Cent, or I got to go the other way. I got to be a Little Kim.
I
left.
When it was my turn, I didn't get the 50 Cent. They just was like, Little Kim or Foxy.
Yeah.
Like, you trying to get me on stage with a thong on?
What
the fuck?
Yo, you stupid.
What the fuck are y'all talking about? It's not happening.
Yeah.
And the craziest...
Like, if you don't like me, say you don't like me, because I'm going to say no to this stupid shit.
The craziest part is that, it's these men in these offices, right? And I'm in this... And he know who I'm talking about. And I'm having this meeting, and he hears my music, and he's, like, taken away. Mm-hmm. He can't believe I wrote it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I write everything.
Right.
He wants me to be a ghostwriter because the look isn't the look.
Yeah, we wasn't.
And at the time, this wasn't even the look. It was. Oh,
I remember.
It was in between. So it wasn't all the way a masculine look.
Right.
But he's like, yeah, the world's not ready for this.
Yeah.
Right. So I need an explanation. Like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not willing to do the Kim Foxy thing, that's what people are looking for. Men have to be attracted to you, is how he's pitching it to me. Mm-hmm. And I had to walk away from deals because of those
same here. Yeah. And the thing is that our ancestors, they really put themselves on the line, to make change in our communities. Now we have a little more. We're making more money in different ways, and we have a little more to
less
lose.
For change.
Huh?
And we're doing
less for change, and we're causing more damage because the little bit that we do have, we're not willing to sacrifice that. We're not willing to risk that. You know what I mean? But you and I, we said, I'm not doing that shit. But hold on, we're saying that. Are we being self-righteous because we just didn't do it because it's not us, or did we do it for our community?
I didn't do it because it wasn't me.
Okay.
And in turn, because I have integrity and I'm going to stick to my guns, it affects the representation for the community.
Because that was actually on my mind as well. Like, I'm not promoting no shit like this. Yo. I'm not talking about this. All I'm talking about is my life experiences. Now, may some stuff be a little like, damn, that happened, this happened. Yeah, but that's not... You understand what I'm saying? I'm not promoting no shit like this is cool or that's cool. This is my thought process.
This is the thing, right? So we have things that we have choices and decisions that we make that are self-serving, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's a positive self-serving, it still ripples out to the rest of the community and culture.
Okay,
right?
I can take that.
So like, I need an example.
Give me an example.
I'm about to. So I had a video shoot early on. I'm in my mid to later teens. I'm a duo at the time. It's me and this young lady named Purple Haze, who are doing music together. Purple Haze name was Purple Haze for a reason. She liked to smoke. I myself dibbled and dabbled back then.
I didn't even know you smoked a little bit.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Not regularly.
Oh, okay.
But I was raising a child, so in the music video, she takes the blunt and she tries to pass it to me, and I'm like, cut. That's not what we do in this music video. Right? And no, I wasn't thinking about the culture when I did that. I was thinking about my daughter.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But the fact that I made that choice for someone I care for, I love, and I want to be responsible.
Drop it like it's hot.
And I want to be responsible with it, then ripples out to the culture. Right? So when you say you care about the culture,
I wanted to look something up.
you make choices that show that you know what I mean?
Yes.
We care about our kids,
Yes.
and so we don't want them to have
Right.
If I care about the culture, I don't want them to have
And that's the key to life right there. The more that I believe that was stated before, like the more we care for ourselves and we want to be our best selves, it impacts everybody. You know what I mean? So caring about your daughter that much, where it's like, I don't want her to see this. Caring about your daughters, caring about other daughters, it's caring about other sons.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's like, these are the standards in my household. It would be nice if our people had these standards for their households as well.
We're giving them an example of another standard.
We're giving an example of another standard. Beautiful, beautiful.
So with that being said, right, when you start looking back at the NWAs, the Ice-T's, you know, the gangster rap era, because we always speak of drill, right? But when you know, drill came from somewhere.
Yeah.
So when you take it all the way back to the gangster rap era, do you feel like there's some responsibility there for where we're at now?
And when you talking about just where we are now, like drill, or we talking about the nasty stuff?
We're talking about how gangster culture is now in likeness instead of it being frowned upon. We're talking about how guns are at a high commodity with young people. We're talking about over-sexualizing of
babies,
women and children. Like all of it. Like, what would do you think that hip-hop and that era has created or had a hand in this?
Absolutely. Can I say abso-fucking-lutely?
Abso-fucking.
Because I'm passionate about this in my heart.
Hell yeah.
Yes, because like you said, nothing is small. Everything has a ripple effect. So something is made popular, you want to be like it. How many of us in our communities wanted to be drug dealers because of how cool it looked? You had everything. You had all the ladies. You had all the cars. You had all the jewelry, and that's how you got it. I want to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like once. I mean, I'm sure Ice-T was impacted back by somebody, and Schoolie D was impacted by some people was impacted, but it's like to hear him talking about, then I smacked the hoe and all that kind of stuff, and now girls calling themselves hoes, and then it's like, what's his name that passed away, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. You can get hit too, talking about women, and you know what I'm saying, like it's just like everything grows, you know what I'm saying, everything is a wave, a bigger wave, so absolutely. Absolutely. The same way how, I don't know who started things on a health tip. Now we got fast food restaurants. We even got White Castle selling a veggie burger. You know what I'm saying? So everything begets something. Now, because I think we have so much power and people are becoming conscious and music is so powerful, I think it's definitely, we're losing the word, so I'll say trap. I wanted to say something else to really push our people backwards and keep us asleep. Because so many of us are waking up. And it's through the music.
So I would absolutely love for us to be able to have a conversation with Ice Cube, or any of them, you know what I mean, who, you know, was just in their time, living their life, and experiencing and narrating.
Yeah.
To find out.
And exaggerating.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is just unbelievable. Like, that ain't happened.
Well, they live in a very different culture, right? Their culture out there is very different than ours, even though we are now getting some glimpses of it because it's in our backyard at this point.
Right.
It gradually graduated. Their reality was very different than ours, right? And at the time, I don't think that they intentionally, I mean, that could be debated, but I don't think it was intentional to say, this is the ripple that we want to put forth. I think that they were living a life that was regular to them.
Right.
And shedding light on it.
Right.
Because they didn't see anything wrong with it.
Right.
It's the life that it's normal to them.
Right.
Right? And so when your normal is toxic, but it's normal, you're not going to feel a way about putting it out there because it's normal to you. Mm-hmm. Only people who are going to look at it sideways are the people who it's not normal to. It's like,
right.
Because I remember speaking to people about things I used to do, and they looking at me like, that's not.
Yeah, that's not okay, right?
Yeah, you did that to me one time, and I was like, oh shit. I remember, and that actually changed me.
Oh wow!
It changed my mind. I told you a story about almost putting my sister out the window. And I felt like, I felt like I was right in my reasoning. I really did. I was upset with one of my sisters for calling the police on me for almost throwing my other sister out the window. And you said, that's her sister too.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit. Never
thought about it. I'm your sister.
You don't call the cops on me.
Right, yeah.
Right? And I'm like, and this goes back to me being also someone who was in a toxic space, who knew no better, who thought that, from my perspective, I thought that I was justified. But I was unwell. And so I was making unwell decisions.
Exactly.
And I was okay with those unwell decisions because I didn't think I was unwell.
Right. So I want to say something about that because you made that good point of caring about Jess, right? That was the baby at the time, right? And I'm thinking about some artists. I don't want to point out certain artists' names. Because it's a lot. It's a whole thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not one particular person. And I often think when I listen to their music, like, damn, what about when your kids listen to it? You know what I mean? It's like you don't care that this is...
I sent you a clip about a conversation that was happening on Drink Champs.
Yes. No, I watched it. I did watch it. I watched it a few times, actually.
So it goes to what you're saying.
Yes.
Right? EFN is saying, he does Drink Champs, but he's also a DJ.
Right.
His child goes into the liquor area of the supermarket and says, Daddy's work. And he's embarrassed.
Right.
But when it's music and his son says Daddy's work, he takes pride in it.
Right.
And they ended that conversation with, don't do this part of what Daddy does.
Yep.
That was problematic to me.
Because that's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Our children are who we are, not what we say.
Yeah, right.
We are.
Right, they are what we do. That's right.
Right?
Yep.
So if you really feel a way about the fact that your child puts alcohol as an option because of you, what are you going to do to change that behavior?
Like people who smoke in front of their kids. Now your kids are smoking different stuff. Yeah.
It always goes back to the conversation I continuously have.
Well,
is it culture?
Kids, yeah,
Are you loving the culture? Or are you loving the money?
Yeah.
Are you loving capitalism? Because when you think about it, and I'm just putting EFN in the hot seat, right? Your child is telling you this is what you represent to me, right? And you're saying I'm not fond of this representing me to you, but now it is a business. Am I choosing my business over the wellness of my child?
Or do I have, because we discussed this, right? Do I have other options? What can I do? Because I'm uncomfortable in this right now. So one of the suggestions were, how about healthy drinks being an option? Where he can talk to his son.
Nori's wife has a juice bar. And a lot of the guests at this point are not doing the drinking. When they come in, a lot of them opt out of the drinking. So they pick people to drink for them. If that has to be the case, then the people who are living healthy lifestyles but still are coming to get interviewed, why don't you now promote your wife's business?
Exactly.
Y'all drinking
and
that
still a drink champ.
Yes, you're still a drink champ.
That's right.
And you're actually a champ because you're building versus tearing down.
And then what that would do for the health of our community, if we seeing that, like, y'all want to get what's going on with drinks? Like, you know what I'm saying? People looking healthy, doing their thing. That's what we need to see and make that shit popular. You know what I'm saying? That would be so fire.
I think so.
I think so too. Yo, Nori.
I've been thinking about it for the longest. When he said, when he promoted the first time he promoted her drinks, I was waiting for the moment. How many people are gonna be sitting there who don't drink before you come to the conclusion this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity.
Yes, it is.
For me, my wife, like, and for us to show that we give an option.
Right, and for the show to change with the times, to move like the same way White Castle's got a veggie burger.
Because they even got to the point, Nori and EFN even got to the point where they do fast in between certain joints because they're killing their body all that drink. They're not faking the drinks. You remember back in the day when you did TV, the drink it would
be some other stuff in it, but they didn't want to do that
because they're trying to get the artists to get looser with the lips from the alcohol.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it's just not a good look.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love Nori.
Me too, and I'm proud of him.
I'm proud of everything he's doing, except I want him to have a different mindset around what he's pitching.
Yup.
That's it.
That's it.
Did we answer the question?
I said absolutely. You didn't answer the question. You just asked it. Should artists that like our 90s artists, 80s artists, should they take responsibility for where the music is today?
I absolutely think we should fix what we break. That's how I live my life, and that's how I urge everyone to live their life. We can't do anything about the things that we don't know better than.
Right.
If I'm in a space where I have limited information, I'm making choices via that limited information.
Right.
But once I get more information, I'm not going to make the same choices.
No better, do better.
So if I break something, I hurt someone, I ruin a situation, I think it's my responsibility to step backwards and say, let me do whatever I can to get a reset.
I appreciate
of some level.
That's dope.
You know what I mean?
That makes me think about my father. Because when he came home from prison, he got 2 bachelor's degrees and a master's to become a teacher.
Nice.
And he ended up teaching on 169th and 3rd Avenue, the same area that he terrorized. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you do it, though.
Yeah, with him and his brothers. And then I was like, Dad, this full circle is just amazing that you got this opportunity to do that. And he's a wonderful educator, a wonderful teacher that really cares and passionate about the young people, and to be able to pour that back in.
That's beautiful.
It's something that we should all spend a block on when we mature and realize something different. Don't just leave after that. Now you got to come back and fix some shit because you heard it.
I've done that at every stage of my life.
Yeah.
From relationships.
Yeah, you have.
Romantic relationships, friendships.
Yeah.
Like, I think that if you're at minimum a decent person, right? I think I'm a great human.
Right.
But at minimum decent. If you're a decent person, you are affected by what you affect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I believe that we should make it a norm that once we get better, whatever we left broken or undone, we revisit that. And it doesn't mean you stay there. It doesn't mean that relationships are going to be what they were. It doesn't mean any of that. All it means is I know I have a responsibility to fix something that I left broken or undone.
I love that. Like a code.
Yeah.
Like a code. Like you have the 10 crack commandments. We got the commandments of the Bible. You need some commandments, man. I
really believe that. I really believe it. I think that that's where wellness begins. Because when you think about it like this, right? We're talking about wellness. We're talking about the state of our culture and the lack of trust and all of those things, right? If we get to a place where everyone is fixing what they broke, think about what that does for trust.
Oh my
right?
God, yes.
Think about what that does for trust, because now it's hard for people in this moment, in this era we're in, it's very hard for people to understand that when somebody hurts them, it's not about them. It wasn't about them. It wasn't personal. It was something going on in that person, right? It's very hard to identify that through the pain. But if somebody, if you're now constantly, people are revisiting, coming back to say, this is what was going on. I'm sorry about this. How can I make this better? This is where I was then. This is not where I am now. It gives a little more validity to the understanding that it wasn't about me. This was about
I'm just
you.
kidding. No, I'm just kidding. That makes me think of this again. All right, so what does that look like? Because when we think about some of these artists, like look what Ice-T is doing now. Look what Ice Cube is doing now. Look what Dr. Dre is doing now. A lot of the gangster rappers that came before drill are doing other things, right? More positive things and all of that. Is that how they're rectifying there? Is that how they're, you know what I mean? Or like my dad is now a teacher. You know what I mean? Or are you saying it should be a direct apology?
Thank you for giving me that comparison, right? Your dad was terrorizing an area and became a teacher in that area to help fix. Me doing something positive here that has absolutely nothing to do with what I broke is not fixing anything. Yes, they are making more money in positive ways.
Can I pause and say something real quick? Dad, I'm sorry if you feel terrorizing is an overreach or whatever. Impacted a community in a bad way is what I'm saying, all right? And that's a fact.
There are a lot of people. Let's be clear, because I want the viewers to get a very clear understanding of where I am when I'm speaking of breaking and fixing. We are speaking of our culture, and when we described our culture, we're speaking of our cultural norms in every aspect of the culture. We're not speaking of finances. We're not speaking of money. Every time the culture conversation comes up, that's why this is called culture currency, people tend to bring up the finances that come along with activity. People are doing positive things. The fact that it's not a negative makes it positive. But what is it doing besides financial gain? I'm speaking of the impact that you're making on the culture, the cultural behaviors, how we're showing up as a people. You broke something in the area of how we act as a people. Yeah. I need you to fix what you broke.
Right, because your gangster rap they're making Are We There Yet didn't fix anything.
Right, getting headphones. You know what I mean?
Right.
Getting headphones didn't change the fact that people are dying behind the influence of something that you put out.
Put a root in.
You understand? And we appreciate the things that you are putting out here. We're buying it. We're purchasing. We're supporting. But I need to see the support the other way by you fixing what you broke.
How? But what does that look like? Like if you had a suggestion, what is it?
I can only speak for, how I've operated. I don't expect everyone to operate in the same space that I did. Right? But I will say that if you could be creative, figure out what makes sense for you, and doubling back and figuring out how to impact positively what you impacted negatively, that would never go unseen.
Right.
I had a moment of horrible judgment and horrible character.
Right.
I cheated on someone. One-time deal, never did it again. Doesn't change the fact that it was horrible to do, right? You make an agreement, you stick to an agreement. In that moment, I cheated on somebody I cared deeply for.
I would have never done that to anybody.
Shut up. In that moment, I cheated on somebody I cared deeply for. And I started dealing with someone else who started feeling very deeply for me. Right? And after all was said and done, everything, took its course. I not only had to make amends with the person who I cared deeply for, who I cheated on, but I also made amends with the person I cheated with. Not because she wasn't a willing participant in the act, but because I knew how she felt about me.
And you still went along with it.
If you know that you have a certain impact on someone's life or a certain influence, right? And you utilize that influence for negative gain, you whack.
Yeah.
So I was
right.
I was whack in that moment.
Okay, got you.
Right?
Right,
And
got you.
she didn't understand why I was apologizing because she didn't see it that way.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
I did.
And you
because
wanted
I
to
know
release
better.
that. Yep.
You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
I know better. So when you know better, you do better.
That's right.
And
I have a
had to
story.
I taught her something.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That's
I
right.
taught her
By
something.
being your best self, you surely
Yeah.
did. You made me think about that the times that I've corrected my wrongs so it's a time when I was selling drugs and stuff like that. And then it was a time when I was doing it when I was actually happy for it because, proud of I don't want to say proud, but like, oh yeah, I'm getting money. I'm feeling good about it. But then as the time went on, I'm like, I don't feel good about this anymore. When I'm looking at a kid crying because he don't want his mother to buy drugs from me, or I see a pregnant lady coming, I'm like, I'm not giving you nothing. Or a kid coming, or a young person in their 20s, like, what? You know what I mean? And I started feeling ways, and I said, I can't do this no way. It didn't feel good to my spirit. And what I did was go back to what I was doing, was teaching. I'm like, damn, I'm sitting here hurting my community every day. I'm watching people over a year or 2 times coming from fat to skinny. And I'm serving, I can't do it no more. You know what I mean? I became a teacher, helping young people understand their leadership skills and not sharing the details of my story, but understand, like, I've always been an entrepreneur. I grew a business, you know what I'm saying? Or I was a good employee because I was doing 2 things. You know what I mean? Where still being, grinding, and I know how to do that. Let me do this for the better. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we're talking about, walking it and talking it. It's like I heard something. Now I'm going to build something up.
Make something.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a direct relation. There's a parallel to those 2 different lives. Yeah. It's like hurting community. I'm building it back up.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So how do you do that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with you with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I really want us to get to a place as a culture, as a community, as a tribe, where we understand that we are responsible for each other.
Yeah,
we
man.
just are.
Yeah, we just are.
We just are.
And as long as you acknowledge it, where you understand the impact that you're having, it's up to you what you do with it. But at least acknowledge this shit at first.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because eventually maybe it will do something and have you make a shift or whatever. Where you could still, I know I keep coming back to money, but a lot of times we make those decisions because of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where you could be, I mean, but you know what? At the end of the day, I was messed up when I made that switch to go back to work. Mm-hmm. I was making, like, one time it was like $100 a week instead of a couple racks a week.
But you call it when you pull something back for it to catapult forward.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Pull back and push forward, yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
Like you boomerang.
Yeah.
Right? So people need to understand that, we're not saying that it's going to be easy to make the better choice. At all. Right? We're not saying that you might not be in a deficit for a certain amount of time. But what we're saying is not only will your spirit feel better, you will be a better person, you will be more impactful. Right. But your forward motion...
Yeah, you're gonna be paid back for that. You're gonna be paid back
full with interest.
That's right, and that's just how universe works. You're gonna get paid for everything you do. You're gonna get paid. It depends on what kind of pay that you want.
And they say that life isn't fair. I disagree. I want everybody to stop saying that.
It's very fair. You always say it's very fair.
Life is super fair.
Yeah, you do say that.
You get what you give. In every aspect,
that's
whether
right.
it be negative or positive.
That's a fact, man.
Very fair.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. You getting paid back for everything that you do.
Absolutely.
That's a super fact.
Yo, this was a superb discussion.
Yeah, I really appreciated it and really enjoyed it. I felt it in my heart.
Me too. I'm Mahogany.
And I'm Age.
And we are Culture Currency.
Where culture
is the value.
Good talking to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get my litter.